Let me start this video with this. People can only react to things in the best way they know how. I don't know if you have heard this quote before, but today we are going to explain this quote in a way that can serve you. We're going to see here why people think, feel, and act the way they do. What are the causes that makes people think, feel, and act a certain way? A lot of you might ask yourself this question. So today we're going to find the answer. We're going to go deeper and understand why that we think, feel, and act the way we do in our life. Okay? Because we all know that the way we act is what produces the results we have in our lives. So it's very important for you to understand it. Why do you act, feel, and think the way you do? So let's get started. Okay. So we say that a sponsoring thoughts thought is a thought that drive you to think, feel, and act a certain way towards an external situation that happens to you. Okay? Someone that talked to you, something that happened in your job, something that you've been looking for and you didn't get. So these are external factors. Okay? So sponsoring thought, they are the thoughts that drive you to act, feel, and think the way you did. Now, what are these? These are thoughts, sponsoring thoughts. They are thoughts that give interpretation to the external event. And each of us has specific sponsoring thoughts that we have. And that's the reason we said earlier that external factor cannot determine your future. External factor cannot determine the life you live. The choice you made towards that external factor is what determines the life you live. Okay? Why? Because if external factor could determine the life you live, the way you live your life, your future, all human beings will have the same future. Or all human beings, I should say, experiencing this external factor will experience the same future. Okay? Let me explain here. So let's say we have a group of people here. Okay? And let's say that these people, they are a person that goes to the gym, for example. Okay? All this group of people, they are a person that goes to the gym. And then we have an external factor. So for this external factor, let's say it's raining. That's one. Okay? Let me just take one so you can understand. So the fact of raining, most people, the way they interpret, the way they react to things is by accusing something or someone, which is the external factor, as the cause, as the reason that they behaved or acted the way. Okay? Now, you and I know that this is not true. Because if that was true, whenever it's raining, all these people that usually goes to the gym, they will stop going to the gym this day. Okay? So if that was true, that external factor or the thing that determines your future or the thing that determines your life, all these people that used to go to the gym will stop going to the gym this day that it was rain. Okay? I hope you understand that. And you can implement that and interpret that in any area of your life. So you can understand what I'm saying, that external factors, they do not determine your future. Okay? So what determines your future is the way that you react to the external factor. Now, each of these person, they will react a certain way to this external factors. they will interpret this internal factor a certain way. Each of them will interpret it differently. And that's the reason by the interpretation they gave to this external factor, by the way they are seeing this external factor, this is what will makes them take particular type of action. Okay? And we say this interpretation of the external factors is done by what we call a sponsoring thought. And what is a sponsoring thought? A sponsoring thought is a thought that gives interpretation to the external event. And there are thoughts that you found under the dominant thought that you had whenever you act towards an external factor. Let me explain what I mean. Let me just place that so you can understand. Okay? So, let's say something happened, okay? So this is the external factor, and you're here. Okay? So we say the way you will interpret this in this external event is by your sponsoring thoughts. Okay? So this sponsoring thought will give meaning, will interpret this external factor, and by that you have what we call a conscious thought. Okay? Now, this conscious thought is what most of us are aware of whenever we are trying to explain what happened to a person. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say that you were looking for a promotion in your job. Okay, so you are in your job and you were looking for a promotion. And then you didn't get the promotion. So that's the event. So the promotion that that you were waiting for was given to another person. So no promotion. Okay? And then this is you. So the immediate reaction you have if you get angry. Okay? So that's your reaction. Okay? And then your friend could ask you, the same friend that is with you in the office could ask you, why do you think you didn't get the job? And you say, no, man, this is just the boss. He just choosing this person over me. Okay? So that's the conscious thought that you have. Now, the sponsoring thought, which is always under the conscious thought, could say something, for example, I'm not good enough. This promotion wasn't for me. Okay? So these are the thoughts that you could be processing. So these are the thoughts that sponsored this conscious thought, this conscious explanation we're given. And most of the conscious thought or conscious explanation we are giving after we take or react to an external event, they are lies that we are telling ourselves. And in our course, in our framework, we call them self-lies. Okay? So most of them are self-lies. Now, most of the sponsoring thought we are not aware of. And these are the ones that sponsor this conscious explanation you're trying to give because you're not aware of the sponsoring thought that is driving you to take fear and act the way you're reacting toward that external situation. And this sponsoring thought, these sponsoring thought, they are always here on your subconscious mind. Okay, this is your conscious mind. Okay, so these sponsoring thought, they are always on the unconscious part of the brain. Okay, which is the limbic system and the brain's thing. Okay? These are the part of the brain that are unconscious and are responsible for unconscious activities. Okay? So this sponsoring thought, this sponsoring belief that you have, or the real reason, or the real one that push you, drives you to react or think or fear this way towards a situation. And they are on your subconscious part. And most people are not aware of it. Why? Because they are unconscious. And we always say that anything that get into the subconscious mind, or anything that is being expressed from the subconscious mind, we always say this is a unconscious process. Okay? So you're not going to be aware of anything that is getting into the subconscious mind, and you're not going to be aware and when the subconscious mind is expressing the content that you have. Okay? So for that reason, we always cover the sponsoring belief, the sponsoring thought by conscious thought or explanation whenever we act, feel, or behave a certain way towards an external situation. Okay? But the real reason we do that, the real reason we behave, act, and feel certain ways by this sponsoring thought that are located in your subconscious mind. And that's the reason Carl Jung said, as soon as you are not making the unconscious conscious, it will drive your life, it will constrict, it will build your life, and you call it fate. Okay? Because these sponsoring thought, this sponsoring belief, or the real reason you're acting the way you do, but you're covering it consciously by this conscious explanation you'll get. Okay? But these are the real ones. Now, if you want to uncover the conscious thought, the self-lies, we call it, you've been telling yourself about a situation, about a area that you are looking to change in your life, and you've been telling yourself this self-lie. I build, I think it's the worksheet, is 2.3 on our framework on how to change your life. The link is always in the description. Okay, so on this worksheet, we have a practical way for you to identify lies that you've been telling yourself and what are the real subconscious belief or thought that are driving you to feel, think, and act the way you do towards an external situation. You'll be able to identify the real reason you're not doing the thing that you say yourself you should be doing. The real reason you can't keep up with the decision that you made. Okay? You'll be able to identify the lies that you've been telling yourself. Okay? So if you identified with any process on this video, go ahead and take some time for yourself and identify self-lies that you've been telling yourself. Okay? And take some time to observe yourself so you can understand the sponsoring thoughts or beliefs that been driving you to feel, think, and act towards a situation. Okay? So you can release this tendency of accusing external factors as the cause that you react, feel, think a certain way. Okay? So the link is on the description. You'll be able to get the worksheet. Where did I put it here? The worksheet 2.3. This is the one that helps you to identify self-lies you've been telling yourself and that or the reason you cannot change your lie, and also identify the sponsoring thoughts or beliefs that will drive you to take, feel, and act a certain way towards an external factor. I hope this video helped you.